It was not only all about high-state visits and meeting up the top leaders of the United States. It's also about a business relationship, trying to have a government-to-business leaders connect. The Prime Minister met with the top CEOs as well as industry leaders in the United States, especially from the tech center. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with the Indian and US business leaders in Washington, D.C. on the final day of his visit to United States. Google CEO Sundar Pichai met the Prime Minister and pledged a 10 billion digitization fund. Now, the CEO of the tech companies as well as pharmaceuticals and healthcare were also present at the meet. It's a huge meeting that took place between the various leaders, especially when it came to deepening India's ties with existing US tech leaders. That is, in fact, Sundar Pichai, who met with the Prime Minister and has pledged a 10 billion investment when it comes to the digitization process in the country. It is one of the biggest announcements that has come from Google, and also the possibility of setting a global financial system that looks into the affairs of trading in Gujarat. This is also one of the announcements that has been made by Google CEO, and therefore a deepening engagement with the tech companies that are based in the United States. Amazon CEO also did a meetup with the Prime Minister and spoke about the potential of the company in the country and also beyond. Meanwhile, also industry leaders from Lockheed Martin as well as tech firms and pharmaceutical industries also met with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister having a packed meeting with the various CEOs as well as industry leaders in the United States. Let's listen into what some of them had to say.
I had a very good and productive conversation with Prime Minister Modi. I think we share a number of goals together in India. Very interested in helping create more jobs, helping digitize more small and medium-sized businesses, and then helping more Indian companies and products be able to be exported all around the world. Amazon is one of the biggest investors in India in the world. We've already invested $11 billion to date with an intention to invest another $15 billion, which will bring the total to $26 billion. So we're very much looking forward to the future of partnering with India and helping the country for many years to come.
It was an honor to meet Prime Minister Modi during a historic visit to the US. The excitement here, in terms of seeing the progress India has made, particularly around the vision of digital India and the economic opportunity. And I had met the Prime Minister in December, and we continued our conversation. And we shared Google is investing $10 billion in the India Digitization Fund, and we are continuing to invest through that, including in companies working on AI. As part of that, we have a 100-language initiative. We are bringing BART to more Indian languages very soon. And we are also excited today that we are announcing the opening of our Global FinTech Operations Center in Gift City, Gujarat, and it'll cement India's fintech leadership thanks to UPI and Aadhaar, and we're going to build on that foundation and take it globally. So we are very excited at the progress, and with the advent of AI, I think the opportunity for India to make more progress is definitely exciting, and we're going to support the Prime Minister's vision there. His vision for digital India, was ahead of its time. I now see it as a blueprint other countries are looking to do, and the follow through on the scaling up of India's digital stack, is a model other countries are thinking about, and I think it's something which will be important in G20 as well, which is obviously happening in India. So it's a real exciting to see the progress, his commitment towards the economic growth for India, and we are glad to be partners in that journey.
Important takeaway is the Prime Minister's passion for India's development, the welcome mat to business and investment and opportunity is, I think, obvious not just to me, but to pretty much everybody who has interacted with him. He does have a specific interest in aviation and aerospace. It's a big vision. He would like for India to play a significant role, not just for India, but for the region broadly. And, at Boeing, we support that 100%. I think it's great when technologies and opportunities align with the vision that a leader has for a country, and that's where we are. There is a giant domestic market that needs to be satisfied. Airport development is now moving at a pace that the country's never seen before. And then maybe even bigger is the international opportunity, where Air India is making enormous investments, new equipment, new skills, new talents, to be able to support that international traffic, which it deserves a big share of.
Well, behind the scenes, the governments were actually escalating expectations for the kind of concrete announcements they would have. And I would say what we saw at the end of the day yesterday exceeded what they were building behind the scenes. In a few main buckets. We knew that defense was going to be highlighted, and certainly it was, including startup cooperation. We knew that strategic technologies, and there's a lot of more developed companies that are going to be making investments in India that hadn't thought about before, and some good research partnerships, but also areas that really we didn't know were going to be focused on as much. Seeing some of the existing trade deals at the WTO get written off, seeing an expansion of consulates as well as relaxation of visa policies. So a lot for whoever was tracking this visit. Well, I'm glad that they're ironing out some of the problematic areas on trade policy, but they still need to double down and try to open up new avenues. Right now, you still have a lot of investment restrictions in India. You still got some trade barriers in the United States, including on immigration. India still has some restrictive trade policies. But also we need to get this relationship to move beyond our national capitals and start getting our state governments to work more together. Because at the end of the day, when you're talking to businesses, and that's going to be a big cement to the relationship, a lot of what has to happen to make the business environment better are things that states control, not our national governments.
Well, I think it's truly historic. This visit from the Honorable Prime Minister is going to really, I think, take our relationship to the next level. And I think that's across all sectors, from supply chain resilience, but we also look at it through the lens of our collaboration and cooperation in defense and aerospace. Well, I was at the launch of Indicex. This is a defense innovation bridge, bringing our startups to work together in both defense and space domains, as well as the Defense Industrial Collaboration Roadmap. And so these two initiatives, I think, are going to be a catalyst, as well as an avenue for us as industry to connect and work both in co-development, co-production, and bringing our startups together as part of really one ecosystem between our U.S. industry working together with our partners in India. Well, we already have two joint ventures with Tata in India for over a decade now. We're engaging in supply chain with hundreds of suppliers. We've already exported over $650 million worth of defense product from India to the U.S. And the future, I think, just takes it up to the next level. And that is working together with our partners for fulfilling the requirements on fighters, helicopters, and critical systems, missile systems, that we can work together with our Indian partners to deliver that capability that's much needed.
Well, these were the top CEOs who met with the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has been saying that cross investments between both the nations is what would lead to a good partnership between the countries. He also said that the ease of doing business in India is very much there, and it has increased over the years, and therefore the US companies wouldn't find any difficulty to get their paperwork done, and that India was open to investments from the United States and its companies. He also went on to say that India could become the alternative supply chain commander when it comes to the issue about supplying crucial tech products as well as other manufactured products. And he also said that diversification of the supply chain is crucial to maintain autonomy. At the same time, it is a potential that can be exploited when it comes to the issue about trying to ensure that the supply chain remains unaffected despite various challenges that might come in way. He was also referring to the situation that has emerged due to COVID and how the supply chain disruptions across the world had resulted in shortage of high-end products, and he said that the semiconductor potential in India is something that needs to be explored. Clearly, the big meet with the CEOs and a power-packed meet with the president has resulted in a paradigm shift of thoughts with regards to the American business community and the potentials and synergies that are possible between India and the United States. The Prime Minister is saying that the ease of doing business in the country has increased and that constant striving is being carried out to ensure that there is a potential to build on the work that has been carried out by the White House as well as the Indian diplomatic community, so that it would reflect on the ground in India as well as in the United States. So the huge meet by the CEOs of Boeing, Google, Amazon, and a big statement coming in from William Blair, the Vice President for India, Lockheed Martin, who's saying that they already have a defense tech relationship with the Tatas and how it is growing in its potential, and they hope to expand further when it comes to exploiting the potential of India and the United States coming together when it comes to high-end defense technology startups as well.